Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Wrestling Forever. I am Ryan118 and I am joined by... That's weird, I've called myself Ryan118 on this channel.
I thought that was weird. Is that your Tinder thing?
That's my YouTube channel, and like just saying it on... I'm so used to looking at this camera and saying, hi, I'm Ryan118. Nonetheless...
Is that the YouTube channel of the number one...
Yeah, it is indeed the number one subscribe to Celtic YouTube channel on this internet. But I am joined by the very fantastic, very talented, and ever-present Billy Cuckwood. Billy, we have just spent the last half hour predicting what is going to happen at this year's Royal Rumble this weekend. But we decided, why don't we have a little blast through the past? And why don't we have a look at previous Royal Rumble winners, Billy? Because over the years, we've seen some good Rumbles, we've seen some shite Rumbles, but nonetheless, there always has to be a winner, doesn't there?
It always has to be a winner. And over the years, they've been somewhat questionable. They've been interesting. We're going to take a flying, as Ryan says, blast through the past, which is also the name of one of my favorite GILF pornos. We are going to be taking a quick look at some of the winners going all the way back to the first Royal Rumble, which I believe is 1989 or was it 1988?
It's one of the years anyway. It's 1988 or 1999. What matters most is we have every single one of them right here in front of us between the first winner, Jim Duggan, in 19 whatever, to Cody Rhodes back last year in 2024. We don't need to explain how a tier list works by now. We've done a couple on this channel, and thank you, by the way, for the interaction on those tier lists, because they're always fun. We're going to go all the way from GOATed to Didn't Happen. Now, on that note, I want to give a quick shout out to the guys over at Stephen Larson's Wrestle Juice podcast.
Love Stephen Larson.
Raw. Love them to bits, as you can see. They done, or well, at least Steve done a video like this a couple of years back, and this was the exact tiers that he used, going from GOATed to good stuff to should have been someone else. Hindsight's 2020. Who booked this shit? It didn't happen. So, Billy, just to make it clear, GOATed, we're going to put the best of the best up there. The best Rumble winners that we have ever seen, of course, right? Before
we get started, and so we don't have to necessarily mention them again, are we taking out that winner?
Well, you know, this is why I thought this would be good to exist down here. Didn't happen because we could just pretend that this Royal Rumble just didn't happen, Billy.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Neither do I.
Why didn't they have a Rumble that year? It seems so odd.
They just didn't need it. They just didn't need it. WrestleMania 20 didn't need a Royal Rumble winner.
Imagine Stevie Richards winning the World Heavyweight Championship. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it?
But so it's
not me throwing shade at Stevie Richards, by the way.
Of course not. God bless him. But the rest is all self-explanatory. Hindsight is 2020 is maybe the only one that I feel like needs a wee bit of explanation. Yeah. This is for one that maybe at the time you felt like, oh, that's a good Royal Rumble winner, but things just didn't really pan out and it's not aged well. There's somebody who really comes to mind for this, and we'll get to them. Nonetheless, self-explanatory. We're going to try and batter through it. Yeah. And Billy, you're a wee bit older than me.
Yes, I am.
So I'm going to let you kind of guide me through the first sort of 10 Royal Rumbles and let you hear your opinions.
Very quickly, we can get rid of the first two in this way. And I mean this with respect, right?
Yes.
It was a different event. It didn't guarantee a world title shot when it first started. It was just a big event that people were excited about, kind of finding its way. So I'm going to put Hacksaw into GOATed because he won the first one.
Big Hacksaw. Big Hacksaw. I love that.
He won the first one. You can't take anything away from him. He won the first one. And people were they were in to Hacksaw Jim Duggan in 1989. Hacksaw winning a title back then wouldn't have been ridiculous.
No,
ridiculous.
He's one of those names that you think of and you hear and you go, he could have been a world champion, just never happened.
Could have been an IC champion. I would have loved that. That. We could have made that happen, but it wasn't foreseen at the time. And instead, we put the Intercontinental twice on the belt of on the waist of a racist homophobe. But never mind that.
It's not like that's happened loads.
No. So then we come to Big John Studd, who was clearly a McMahon's favourite. Wasn't the best wrestler, more of an attraction guy, to be honest. Him winning, I've fucking no idea why. Because he had been in the world title picture. He'd had feuds with Hogan and what have you. He'd been the tag team partner of King Kong Bundy. Big fucking dude, filled with charisma, but was never was a bear hug wrestler, as I call them. Like, it was bear hugs and pointing, and you put him in there with guys are big. So I have got to say, with respect to Big Sean Studd, and
also very quickly, I believe that this was the first ever 30-man Royal Rumble.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going for him. I'm going to put him in under. I'm going to put him in under good stuff, because the first 30-man winner, that's fine. That's totally fine.
Right.
Moving on. It's kind of like
now, are the next two fine in the eyes of Billy Kirkwood?
Well, here's the thing. Arguably the biggest star in pro wrestling would win it back to back, right?
Yes.
You can't take anything away from the big man at the time. Hulk Hogan should he have won it in 91? I don't know. We're coming off the tail end of Hulkamania even then. If you think about it, WrestleMania, like 1993 is only a few years away, right?
Yeah.
And you think about how the landscape shifted. So I'm gonna put Hogan in unbelievably. I'm gonna put 1990s win because it's set up Warrior versus Hogan,
that's right? Yep.
So I'm gonna put that under good stuff.
Good stuff. Would you put it above or below Big Johnny Boy?
I'll put it above.
Put it above Big Johnny Boy.
All due respect to the Stud family. But then 1990, which does get him challenging Sergeant Slaughter.
1981, sorry.
1991, sorry.
Yes.
Getting one of my favourite. It's a feud I really like. I don't know why.
Do you know what? Fair play to you, because everything you ever watch or hear about that rivalry is just like, oh, it's a bit much. I guess it's maybe a little bit different watching it over here than maybe in America at the time.
They had a banging match at WrestleMania 7.
Yeah.
So, but of course, that's when they went from a stadium to an arena. Wrestling wasn't, I didn't know wrestling wasn't in the best place at the time. So I am going to say, probably it should have been someone else.
Should have been. I think this was really early. I mean, obviously, I didn't experience it live. I don't even think I've went back and watched this Rumble in all due honesty here. But what I will say is I feel like it was very early doors for them to have a back-to-back winner. But it was Hogan, I suppose. Yep. It was Hogan.
This is the first indicator, I would say, that WWE really need to create some main event stars. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is the first real indicator. Then we come to 1992.
Well, some people say it's the best Rumble ever, Billy.
Unpredictability. You called it. A man who they said was well done with the World Heavyweight Championship, but came in as probably the underdog, underdog of underdogs. Ric Flair, the Iron Man, wins it. For me, I love this. This is still argued as some people still say this is the best Royal Rumble of all time.
Yeah.
So I have got to say Ric Flair, despite the fact one of your recent fucking issues, I'm going to put him in as goated.
It has to be, doesn't it? Even for me, who, once again, didn't expect... I'm loving listening to hear your opinions and all of this. It's great. But even for somebody like me who didn't see any of this growing up and was well past the point of seeing all this live, you hear about this constantly. It's one of the most replayed moments in Royal Rumble history. It's just one of those historic WWE moments, isn't it? Now, did they do Ric Flair justice the years following? Probably not. But this was alone a fantastic Royal Rumble, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's just great. It's such an amazing story as well. A great night of wrestling. Roddy Piper also won the Intercontinental title in that night. We finally brought a title home, kind of. It's one of ours. I don't care what anybody says.
Listen, I will happily accept Roddy Piper over many of the dicks that try to claim they're from this country.
Yes. and having been a pal of Roddy's back in the day, well, a sweetheart. But a great night. I mean, even at that, I told a story because I love the fact that he won the Intercontinental title. And one of the big stories was because the title was up for grabs, the title was in the air. The winner of this was winning the title, not the ticket to WrestleMania. They were winning the title. And I still remember feeling it. And I did not watch this when it came out initially. I was a couple more. We didn't have Sky. I had to wait till the video cassette came out. Do you know what I mean? So I still remember the big story of that being Roddy Piper could do both titles and winning his first ever title in the WWF and could do it both in one night. And I was like, fuck, what if he does?
Nuts.
What if he does? That's amazing. That's amazing. It could have been Sid Justice, but I'm glad it was Rick.
Yeah. Well, coming off of Rick winning the world title, we had the first ever Royal Rumble, which provided the opportunity to main event WrestleMania in 1993. The stipulation was put on the line that if you win the Royal Rumble, you will face the world champion at WrestleMania. And of course, that all started with Yokozuna, Billy. Where would you put it? What are your memories of it? What do you think?
I remember fucking hating this. I remember.
Was that because you were younger and you just didn't like Yokozuna, or do you think it was a bad choice?
I just was like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Even then, I knew this guy wasn't from Japan. Right? I remember going, this seems troublesome to me. But that was a great reaction because it was a surprise. You think of all the names that were in there, and this guy won. This is an interesting Royal Rumble because I think I read somewhere that 70% of the competitors in this Royal Rumble were no longer part of WWF by the summer.
Wow, really?
It's like a huge amount of them are gone.
That's like that the 2021 Royal Rumble where it's like, I think it's over half of the entrants are now in AEW.
Wow, that's mental, isn't it?
Aye, crazy.
So, where are we putting Yokozuna? Do you know, I'm going to say I think this is good stuff.
Good stuff.
This is good stuff. Maybe I think it's between Hogan and John.
In there.
Because this was a brand new competitor in that division, and Yoko, man, could fucking go.
Yeah, listen, Yokozuna was one of those guys that, despite obviously the limitations that a man that size carries, and I know he had his problems and things slowed down for him a bit towards the end of his run, but when he was at the height of that run, Billy, you know, he was number one, an attraction, but number two was very impressive for the things that he could do for a guy that was literally like 600 pounds.
A belter of a talent, of a talent. And for me, this was interesting. I thought the sumo wrestling thing was weird, but it's kind of where the world was, I guess, back then. That Japan, despite the fact they weren't the enemy, were still being portrayed as bad guys on their TV. At least they didn't give them that fucking Orient Express bloody intro music that everyone got.
Yep.
There was ceremony to this, and Yoko was one of the first Samoans to win the World's Heavyweight Championship. Can't go wrong with that. With that. And Bret Hart knew that. This guy held the title for a year.
Yeah.
A fucking year, and that
was the original tribal chief, Billy. The original tribal chief.
Fuck yes, yeah, that Reigns. Yoko was there every day, wasn't he? Just turning up on a bank holiday. Get a fucking grip.
Billy, the next Royal Rumble was the first Royal Rumble or the only Royal Rumble ever that had a declared joint winner. Of course, we had the Lex Express, Lex Luger, shaking hands with Bret Hart in that famous photo at the end of the night. There was never a finalised winner. Now, how did that sit with you at the time when you watched it?
Well, it's... So they turned this into something that I thought was quite interesting at WrestleMania 10. Mm-hmm. I think, see the whole thing, like, see if they'd been to just a couple of tweaks to Lex Luger, he could have been the world's heavyweight champion. I hear loads of people saying like, they did like testers with him with the championship and it didn't go down too well and blah, 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 and all this bollocks. I wouldn't have minded seeing Lex Luger. I think I would have rather it had been a heel as a heel. Yep. So Lex for me is almost a year too late. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like he makes the debut as the narcissist in 1993. Yeah. He might have been a more interesting winner of the Royal Rumble. I don't know. I was happy to see Bret Hart get back in the title picture.
Yeah.
So I was happy with that. And it was intriguing to see him versus Owen. And I think Lex Luger versus Yokozuna, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yokozuna. So, yeah, he got the title match first, didn't he? Yeah, that's it. He got the title match first, and then Mr. Perfect spunked him out it, or something like that. Was it?
Listen, I'm not going to sit and pretend that I can remember it exactly.
I can't remember. All you need to know is Lex Luger does not win it and basically is in sharp decline since then. Yeah. So not a big fan of this. I think they could have just done it better. Either Lex getting built better as a champion or just straight out Bret Hart gets his second shot. So I think who booked this shit is what this one falls under.
Hey, we have the first entry. We have the first entry to, and you know what? The thing is, I think like every one of these, bar one, has been booked by Vince McMahon, so we know who booked this shit. But this was one of these things that I think. Do you know what? To be honest, Billy, I'm glad that they tried it very early on. If they tried this nowadays, they wouldn't get away with it at all. No way would they get away with it.
Well, we'll come back to that a wee bit.
Yeah, well, yes, we will. We move on to 1994. Is it 4? So. 1994, the first time Shawn Michaels wins the Royal Rumble. Of course, that very famous image of him draped down over the top rope, dangling on for dear life, as British, is a British Bulldog who's celebrating.
British Bulldog.
Yes, that's right.
This was a mad short Royal Rumble. I even remember that going.
Was it?
Because I think they were doing 30 seconds. We're going to make it faster.
Oh, yes, yes,
They're coming in every 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. So when people do turn around and go, British Bulldog and Shawn Michaels were 1 and 2, it's like, what are they wrestling this long? Shut up. Like, even though they both did incredible performances. See, the thing is, man, right? Shawn Michaels goes on to challenge Diesel. They had a story. Mm-hmm. And it was just all right.
Yeah, it didn't end. I mean... I wasn't there, so I don't really have an affection for it or a hatred for it. But when I look back at those images, I'm like, they really ended WrestleMania with Diesel. Well, they didn't end WrestleMania with Diesel beating Shawn. They ended WrestleMania with fucking Lawrence Taylor, didn't they? But like, they had that whole thing with Diesel and Shawn. You're like, eh.
And for me, like, Shawn Michaels will go on and have an iconic, he'll go on and have another run with the Intercontinental Championship before he'll challenge for the world title again. So for me,
do you think this is perhaps maybe one of these examples where hindsight makes you go, well, he was a good winner, but it just didn't take off the way it should have? If you knew that was going to happen, you might have changed things.
Yeah, for me, I almost put this into hindsight as 2020 because they kind of fumbled it a wee bit. This should have been an iconic feud. I don't know if the click and all that just kind of got in the way and fucked it. So, this was just okay for me, man. Okay, right. And I think hindsight is 2020. Booked as a stronger winner. Booked as a stronger feud. This feels like a feud starter, and it was just all right. But then we kind of turned things around the next year.
Yeah, the following year, Billy. The following year.
Yeah, Big Sean comes back in. And for me, this is good stuff.
Good stuff. Where are we putting him in good stuff?
Ooh, I'm putting him just... Oh, that's a fucking tricky one. I'm putting him... Oh, fuck.
The hardest part.
I am putting him just behind Hogan.
Just behind Hogan and ahead of Yokozuna. Just. Okay, doke.
New face in that picture, genuine face in that picture. Him and Bret Hart wrestling together. Fucking love that. It's iconic matches. Did I love the Iron Man? Not really.
Not needed. A match type that's really not needed.
Yeah, everyone talks about that, and I'm always like, nah, it's painfully all right. No, but I'm excited for this. Good stuff. Great way to end it. Start of the new generation properly. Oh, yeah. Yep. However, it wouldn't last long.
No.
It wouldn't last long. All fucking dickhead here gets the flu and loses his smile, and fucking one of his shoes goes missing and he forgets his fucking login for AOL or whatever. So
let's just leave my show alone. I feel like now I can finally join in. This is where I feel like I'm qualified. I'm qualified to join in. And what a way to start off with Stone Cold Steve Austin winning the Royal Rumble in 1997. Now, I don't know about you, Billy, but my first impression is that this flies away up to the top.
Yeah.
And I know some people might be going, wait, what? He didn't even get his WrestleMania match. But when you think about it, Billy, him winning this Rumble, this Royal Rumble, you maybe say the King of the Ring might be it, but him winning this Royal Rumble, despite him not getting the WrestleMania title match, it allows him to go on and have that match with Bret Hart, which becomes one of the most revered matches in WWE history. It feels like this is what led to the birth of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Well, this is it. This is him legitimate. You know, we've seen Austin Mania starting to creep up. So it's starting to creep up now, is what it is. We've seen Austin 316. We've seen the iconic match with Bret Hart. He lost to Bret Hart, but he fucking won the Royal Rumble. I mean, that is a case of like, this isn't a guy skipping through the main event picture. He is the main event picture. It's like I say, you can actually almost see the pattern. Every few years, there needs to be a new face and a new winner. It just does. And for me, I'm up there, goated. Definitely up there. Definitely up there.
Do you think that 1998 is in the same vein? Would you say it's as high as that?
It all gets a bit messy, doesn't it? So if I remember correctly, Stone Cold does not go on to challenge for the world title, but I think this time round he's a definite contender. So he's gone from the benefit of that year, benefit of feuds, benefit getting better, benefit of being the biggest star arguably in the business. So I would say this one again is the birth of the era. Probably
this is where he goes on to face Shawn, isn't it?
This is where he goes on to face Shawn.
14, yeah.
What a year! So we've got to put this up and goated. It's just in front of Ric Flair, I'm going to say.
Oh, right. So right now we have a new front runner on the 1998 Stone Cold Steve Austin Rumble win. They were two huge Rumbles when you think about it. I think that when you put it into perspective, Billy, this making of Stone Cold Steve Austin and winning these two Rumbles is maybe the making of WWE in this new era, going into the Attitude Era and bringing it back to the height of popularity. So
we are in for a hell of a ride. We are in for a hell of a ride, and it starts on this night because everyone wants Stone Cold to win. Stone Cold wins, and we know what we could be looking at for WrestleMania. We are fucking on board. We are off to the races. Let's fucking go. That's where we are.
Are you as on board with what happens the following year?
Who booked this shit?
Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Get
God.
I know it was it's part of the biggest feud arguably going in pro wrestling, right?
Yep.
I can't really give it a hard time, but Vince Jr. won the Rumble. Fuck right off.
Of course not. Of course
right
not.
off.
It feels like, I'm glad that I wasn't alive. This was the last Rumble. Sorry, it wasn't the last Rumble before I was born, because technically I was born in March 2000, so the next one's the last one before I was born. But this one here, when I go back and watch
about SummerSlam, that's a good time. That's a good time.
this one, when... I hate you so much.
My dad didn't like tennis. What do you want me to say? He didn't like tennis.
When I go back and look at this, I can't help but think if I was alive at the time, I'd be fuming that was a Royal Rumble wasted. I need to wait another year for a Royal Rumble, and they've wasted this one. That's how I'd feel about Vince winning it. Yeah,
that's exactly what I am, mate. I just think, it was. I'm always saying this, like, if you go and see a comedian and the audience go, "Oh, fucking hell," that is not a good reaction. Right, it's a reaction, that is true, but it's not a good reaction. For me, this was for fuck's sake. All right, what happens next? Yeah. But I'm still going to say, who booked this shit? Who booked this shit?
2000 wasn't exactly ideal, was it? When you think about the situation that WWE had found itself in already, with Stone Cold being gone, they were a little bit lost in their ways. Of course, the main event of WrestleMania ended up being that weird Fatal 4-Way. But what was even weirder was how they got there, because The Rock didn't win the Royal Rumble. I don't know where you even begin to place this one because of what happened.
Who booked this shit?
Is it worse than Vince? Is it better than Vince?
Oh, it's worse than Vince.
Worse
than
Vince.
It might even be worse than Brett and Lex, to be honest. At least he kind of made something from that. This felt like just a waste.
Well, that's why it's right at the bottom here. Listen, it's nuts that this is The Rock's only Royal Rumble win, and you've got to use fucking quotation marks when you say that, don't you? Because he didn't fucking win.
Fuck him, Dwayne.
Yeah. What was it like watching that live? Like, what was it like?
It was at a period of getting really unsatisfied. We were talking about it in the other podcast. No one's guaranteed to be locked into that main event. And it started making you go like, and it's never good with one of these benchmark events. What's the fucking point? What's the fucking point? And that's what I was with this one. Yeah, fucking hell, man. Just like, my take was with this. There's something happened. This is slightly before the computer age, the internet age, right? I guess before it's out there, but it's not as big as it is now. Yeah. Did something happen that they had to change a plan? This is when they were only doing X number of TVs, X number of pay-per-views. This is the fucking best they could come up with. Yeah. Jog on, mate. Jog on. Terrible stuff.
They had their guy back, though. They had their guy back for 2001. The first Royal Rumble of my lifetime. Not that I was watching it at 1 year old. Stone Cold Steve Austin, the first 3-time winner and the only 3-time winner to this day. Certainly better than what we've seen in 2000 and 1999, I would say.
Yeah, this is great. It's putting Steve back in the conversation. It's putting him into a huge match with arguably the biggest heel in the world at that time. Yeah, I had no issue with this. I think it's just good stuff.
Yeah, because it's the third time you've seen it, isn't it? It's you've seen it twice already. He's already a star. They perhaps could have just got to Rock and Austin without him. But did they have the 2 world titles yet? They didn't, did they? So
no.
Suppose he had to win it. Where would you put it in good stuff? Above and below?
I'm putting it just above Yoko, I think. Above
Yoko. Let's make me think of Yoko Ono. Where is he? There we go.
For me, it's like that, and I think we all knew this is the last time he's going to win it.
Yeah. I think we
knew this is going to be the last time. Beginning of the end. After a hell of a comeback, delighted to see him back in it, but we knew he wasn't going to win.
I mean, this was when it started to get fresh. Things got really fresh. We were done with what felt like the era of Stone Colds and Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair's. Triple H wins the Royal Rumble for the first time in his career, Billy. A huge deal when you think about it. Massive deal. Definitely.
And we're not going to do this for everyone that's a first-time winner, but I think we got to go goated. We got to go goated because, like,
how high up in goated do you want me to put him?
Maybe I've got to be generous, haven't I? It's just above Hacksaw, I think.
Just above Hacksaw. I think Hacksaw is the kind of pity goated anyway, isn't he? So
he's only one first. There's only one first.
Yes. Anyway, continue with what you were saying about Triple H.
No, I just think it was the beginning of a new era for him, getting him out of the Intercontinental picture for a bit and into the world title picture. On board with that, and beginning of some of Triple H's, which, don't get me wrong, we fucking hated those 25-minute promos at the start of Raw. But it's the beginning of a fantastic era for him in pro wrestling. So, yeah, love it. Love that Triple H being in there. Love it.
Brock Lesnar, another fresh face, another one that was a huge deal at the time. This, of course, was the making of Brock Lesnar, Billy, that made him the star that he is.
I'm going to put him under good stuff.
Good stuff. Well, not as on board as Triple H winning it for the first time.
No, because it didn't seem to make an impact in the way the other guys did. That's not me throwing any shade at Brock. But by this point, Brock has already done quite a few surprises. You know, he's already made a huge impact on TV. Great to see, trying to assert him, but they kind of did it the wrong way around a wee bit.
Right.
I think.
Right. Okay.
So no, but I'm happy to see Brock winning it. I think we're putting him above Yoko.
Above Yoko and below the Stone Cold treble. Right, now this is where I proper can get into it. This is me getting into my lifetime. And man, do you know, Billy, I would be inclined, and tell me if you disagree, I'll happily move him down. I'd be inclined to put Batista like way up here, man. I don't know. There was something about Batista winning it that was just, the story was great with the Evolution breakup and all that stuff.
They were dying for Batista to become a star. They're like, fans were dying for Batista to become a star. And he's so big and so fucking cool. I know that sounds mad, but it's like, this guy's a fucking star. No wonder he went on to work in movies. He pisses charisma and was getting better. This is a guy that could have easily been an opening match, dude. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And put in the fucking time. And he felt kind of like the people's choice a little bit. If that makes any sense. What did you think of him? What did you think of him?
Mate, listen, Batista is one of my favourites of all time, and this was like my just on the cusp of getting into wrestling for the first time. So Batista is one of my first favourites, and when I go back and I watch all the segments, remember the thumbs up and the thumbs down, and oh man, Batista just, he was a special talent, one of a kind talent, if anything, and genuinely one of my favourite Rumble winners ever. So he had to go flying up towards the top for me. I obviously don't think it's as groundbreaking as Austin's wins or even Flair's win.
Yeah.
Right now, for where we are, it's pretty up there. Which, and Billy, I don't want to spam the button. I don't want to spam the button for goated.
Spam.
But surely this one's up there and all. Like, just for the emotional side of it. Like,
I can't see who it is.
Rey Mysterio.
Oh, so it is. Yes.
Yeah, winning from number 2, was it? It was 1 or 2. Can't remember now.
Yeah, apart from the really cringy Eddie Guerrero stuff they were doing on TV at the time, which was horrible.
Yeah. But he won it for Eddie. He won it for Eddie.
He won it for Eddie. He won it for us, and it is great to see. Do you know what this? The reason it needs to be goated is this. This meant somebody that wasn't built like a brick shit house could win the World's Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah.
And that meant everything was open. And Ray would go on to have a couple of world title reigns, but this was about, that's this put him. The world was excited. This was one for the Waynes. One for the Waynes, and folk loved it. Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be goated up there. And then, talking about goats, fuck me, it's another one, and it's hard to believe it was his first.
I know. Do you know, for me, it feels weird talking about Undertaker winning a Royal Rumble. It doesn't feel like something that Undertaker should have done. I don't know. Although, at the time, I feel like it was probably the right decision.
Probably the only choice they had at the time. I am saying I think I don't think I can goat this.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think you can put it up there. I think it's good though.
I think it's we might put it on the good stuff because I think it's probably the right call at the time. And this is Taker moving into a bit of a different era in his career. This is the worker Undertaker. Do you know what I mean? This is. I mean, we talk about Kenny Omega being the best bout machine. Taker wasn't having bad matches.
Because if I'm right, I think this is his first Rumble back as the Dead Man, isn't it? Because he returned as the Dead Man the WrestleMania before. Is that right? Or was that no? I can't know because he came back.
Too many matches for Kane, mate. There's too many matches.
Oh God, no! He's been back as the Dead Man for a few years at this point. My bad. My apologies. I'm thinking it's the wrong year. Yeah, good stuff. Where in good stuff do you want to put it?
I think he's probably quite low. I think he's probably just above Yoko again.
Just above Yoko. Yoko. Come on, Yoko. Right. Guys, listen.
We'll just leave that accent well alone.
Whoa, listen. I've just spotted what's next. Billy.
Is it the surprise?
It's the John Cena return 2008 Royal Rumble at Madison Square Garden.
No cheats!
Billy, I don't know about you. It might be the best of all time.
Wow.
It might be.
Certainly the biggest shock.
Yeah.
I would slightly. Do you know? Just in terms.
I would be. I think that you could. Let's put it behind Flair. This is my novelty speaking. This is my nostalgia speaking. Maybe Flair is better. Actually, do you know what? No, because it's not even my favourite Rumble of all time. So I will put it here. I think here's fine.
Okay.
My favourite Rumble ever is yet to come, and I'll tell you when it comes. But remember, this was just so good. You had Roddy Piper coming back. Remember, he was in this.
Madison Square Garden.
Sadly followed by Jimmy Snuka, the following entry. But the less said about him, the better. You had the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels kicking off at 1 and 2. This was just a beautiful, beautiful Royal Rumble, man.
A great Royal Rumble and great fun. I miss the old Madison Square Garden setup.
So do
I really fucking do. The new one is gash. Yeah. Absolute gash. Right, next we've got Randy Orton.
Yeah, I don't know about you. This one didn't really move me.
It's fine.
It was fine. It was Orton needed a win, maybe. He was the only one in Evolution who still hadn't won it.
Yeah, but so I'm going to say good stuff. Good stuff. We've been a lot of good stuff. But it's good stuff. It's best. Then we've got, I think it's another surprise return, Billy, if I'm not mistaken.
Billy, this is my favourite Royal Rumble of all time.
Really?
This is it. This is my favourite Royal Rumble of all time. You have Edge coming back and winning, which obviously is huge in itself. He came back from that horrible Achilles injury, which should have kept him out much longer. You have the story of Shawn Michaels wanting one last opportunity and being eliminated by his fingertips, where he also eliminated Triple H from the same Rumble. You had CM Punk with his Sermon on the Mount constantly grabbing the microphone. You had Beth Phoenix eliminating the great Khali. Billy, This is up the top end for me, and I think I'd put it up like here if it was me. But
no, I'm into that. I'm into that. It's up there as another big surprise. Edge came back earlier than he should have, but he looked fantastic, and it was almost the king of the Royal Rumbles, making that surprise appearance as Edge, and it's a great one. Leads to amazing things. The next one I can go straight to. Right. Who booked this shit?
Do you go as low as that? All
right, hindsight is 2020. I take your point.
Because the way I think of it is, this was very early days in Del Rio's career, and listen, fuck him anyway. He's a scumbag, isn't he? So but I think early days they were like, this guy could be huge, and it just didn't work out.
And that's it in a nutshell, Ryan. That's it in a nutshell. It's them trying to put a new face in there. He was a natural heel. Mm-hmm. People liked him as a face. If Del Rio could have just kept his fucking nose clean, he should have had a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah, by all accounts, Del Rio wasn't the best wrestler in the world, but he had a good character. He had a good charisma for the market that they were desperately trying to break into. They were really trying to get a good Mexican wrestler, and they got one in Del Rio.
And he could have some great matches as well. He was capable of great matches. But yeah, it's just a case of well, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Didn't work out.
Sheamus. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
you're
off.
right. No, you're absolutely right, Sheamus. Again, this is another one. I'm gonna put him up in goated. I think he's.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I'll tell you for why.
Wow.
I'll tell you for why.
Wow. Right. Okay.
Those first wins, right, can launch a career in a completely different direction. And whatever people think about Sheamus, however long he's got, he is a GOAT.
Yes, of course. I love him.
And for me, now you've said it. Now I've said it out loud.
Do you know what I think is a happy medium for this one though? Because because do you know what? You've won me over with that. That's a really good point. This maybe gave Sheamus the legitimacy he needed because they rushed him. They rushed him, didn't they? They gave him the championship so quickly, and people went behind him.
Yeah,
but I never thought of it like that.
Wind.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that. I thought of it as, was he that great a Rumble winner? But it helped take him to the next level. Yeah, the Mania match was 18 seconds, and yeah, it was probably a waste of a fucking Royal Rumble win, but it helped solidify him as a top guy. And I originally was going to say hindsight is 2020 just because of what followed. It wasn't great, but I think I could move it up here now that you've said that.
Yeah, for what it meant to Sheamus and for what it meant to us in terms of Sheamus, I think he's up there. Good for you, Sheamus. He'll always be a Rumble winner. He'll always be a Rumble winner. And
the next one's easy for me.
Go on then, mate. You place it.
I feel like I just cut you off again there. Sorry.
No, mate, not at all. You place it whatever you think.
John Cena, it should have been someone else.
Aye. Could have been anybody else. I actually almost think the next one falls into that category as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. Let's just get that out of the way. Should have been someone else.
Yeah,
Both of them.
Then the next one is probably a little bit of hindsight is 2020, just because, I mean, he's fucked. No, who booked this shit?
Do you know what? If I'm putting myself into the shoes of 2015 Ryan, I was fucking... If anything, I would have it down as one of the worst. But looking back on it and seeing where Roman is now, you can look at it a little more kindly. Yeah, it shouldn't have been Roman. The trigger should never have been pulled on Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble. I think I'd put it about there. I think it's still above Vince and The Rock.
Just.
Yeah. But he wasn't ready. And to talk about Batista... It should have been Daniel Bryan.
Should have been Daniel Bryan.
Both of these years should have been Daniel Bryan.
It was a waste of time. The next one, Triple H. I'm arguing it should have been someone else.
Do you know what? I think I can agree with that. I'd maybe put it at the top end.
Yes, definitely, because to see Triple H winning it again is fantastic. To see him in,
but he didn't need that title. He didn't need that, and ultimately led to a match at WrestleMania, which was let's be real, a bore fest, a snooze fest. It was once again the company forcing an unready Roman Reigns down our throat, which obviously took years off of his career. And
nearly sunk him.
Nearly sunk him. And Triple H, as much as we all wanted him to have one more run with the title, this one didn't feel, I don't know about you, but it didn't even feel like he was champion when you look back at it. Nah.
Doesn't feel real. Even now, it's a forgotten title reign. It would mean more if he won the title now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
honestly,
exactly.
It would mean more if he won the title now, even though that's not going to happen. Although you never know.
I think the next one is quite similar. I mean, why did Randy Orton win that Royal Rumble?
Because I don't think there was anyone else.
Yeah.
I think they felt like there was no one else. Daniel Bryan wasn't in the conversation.
There was things that on the night should have happened in different ways. I remember AJ Styles losing the WWE Championship to John Cena that night. Why was AJ Styles not in the Royal Rumble? Why was he not in it? Why did Kevin Owens... Well, Kevin Owens was actually champion going into this show, wasn't he? But why was... That's who it was... That's why... I knew there was somebody in my head. Might sound nuts saying it now, considering where he is in his career. This is the Royal Rumble that Chris Jericho should have won. This should have been Chris Jericho winning the Royal Rumble, fighting Kevin Owens at WrestleMania
for the world title.
Yeah, that should have happened.
Yeah,
but
then they flubbed it.
Yeah, and then we got Randy Orton dethroning Bray Wyatt, and after he'd been champion for a month.
Moving on.
Horrible time. A horrible time.
I can't even see who the fuck that is.
Then this is the painful one. This is the painful one because you were at this WrestleMania. This should have been on the night was one of the best Royal Rumbles ever. On the night when Shinsuke, I keep calling him Shinsuke Nakamura as if it's the Celtic player. When Shinsuke Nakamura won the Royal Rumble, it was one of the best Rumbles ever.
Yes, it was fantastic, and
then it led to shit.
I have to put this under. Do you know, as an important Royal Rumble, it could be goated, but it isn't.
Yeah. Nah.
Good stuff, well intentioned.
It probably finds its way into good stuff. But I think that I would place it. Oh, it's hard because I find it so hard to go right on the night. It was really, really good, but then they fucked it at Mania. It made it all worthwhile. Not worthwhile, worthless. It made it all fucking worthless.
I am gonna say probably just below Yoko.
Just below Yoko. Yoko. The next one I thought was good stuff. To be honest, Seth winning.
I agree with that. Seth winning, fantastic. I don't think I need to see another Seth win, to be honest.
No, never do I.
But it was good to see him win it. And again, doing amazing stuff at that point. Doing amazing stuff now, don't get me wrong. Seth winning it now would feel like a Randy Orton win now.
Yeah, fact, exactly.
Probably more fondly looked upon Randy Orton winning now, to be honest. But I think it's quite low.
Would you go below Sheamus?
Yeah, maybe above Sheamus.
Just above Sheamus, and I think in there's a nice place. That looks nice.
Lovely.
We're down to the last few.
Next one, I'm putting goated. Our boy!
Easy.
Our boy!
Easy. And how high up and goated does it go? Because it's pretty high for me.
I'm going to put him above Edge.
Above Edge.
Right, because this was a brand new face. This is a story of someone that one point would have never have won a Royal Rumble.
Yes.
So the fact that he did it in 2020, the year that should have been amazing, but turned out to be fucking shite. What a way to start the year. Drew McIntyre winning the Royal Rumble. Would love to see a second Royal Rumble win.
Yes, I
love
agree.
To see a second
and let's not forget how good the actual match itself was. This was the one where I was a huge fan of the whole Brock coming in, eliminating everybody. So you're sitting there thinking, oh no. Oh, Brock's going to win. Brock's going to clean house and Brock's going to win. Vince is going to clean house with Brock Lesnar and it's going to be that. And then Drew comes in, claymores the fuck out of him, and we have a new star. I mean, Drew was a star. We knew it. We seen it over here that he was a star, but this was the moment he became a star in WWE, wasn't it?
Loved
this was
it.
Yeah.
Loved it. And delighted that he won. What a fucking amazing time. I love that one. Next one, I believe, is Edge.
Edge is the COVID pandemic Royal Rumble behind closed doors, which is such a shame because this was a great Rumble, Billy.
Yeah, I can't really give this a hard time. I'm going to put it under good stuff. I'm going to put it above John Studd just because talk about, life giving you lemons, making lemonade. That's exactly what this was. And it was great stuff. But the cool thing about this was, it was the start of things coming back. Yeah. So it was the start of things coming back. And Edge, I think, probably the best choice at the time. Certainly. Next up, we've got Big Brock again.
Oh, Billy, I'm just going to cut to the chase. I'd have it down here.
Yeah, who booked this shit? And we know who.
But why did we need Roman versus Brock for like the fucking 9th time at WrestleMania?
Last couple. I'm going to give, you know what? I'm going to give Cody's bananas. I'm going to give him.
What one was better?
First one.
Because I think that he's most recent. If I was to put it this way, I think I'd put the last one in Goated and the first one in Good Stuff.
I'll go with that.
Do you think that's fair?
I'll go with that.
And my reasoning for
the second one was better.
Yeah, because the reasoning for that for me mostly is this one. They done the whole Cody Rhodes is returning at the Rumble, which is like, right, well, we know he's going to fucking win now. Like, it was like the whole, Cody will return at the Rumble. And I think he came out at 30. So, like, we knew, so they went through the 29. Vince had all 29 out there. You're going, well, number 30 is going to be fucking Cody then, isn't it? And then he wins it. But then at least with this one, you had the whole, well, Punk might win. And that made it a little bit more unpredictable, I think. I would throw that one up and Goated, Billy.
I think that's fair. I think one had a little more like, oh, but he might not. He might not.
Yep.
And again, Cody, man, you got to put him up and goated because he's part of that. You can see the icons. You can see Steve Austin. You can see, well, we haven't put any Hogan ones in for obvious reasons. But you could argue that a Hogan win could go in there, even though, but it wasn't game changing. Hogan winning didn't change the game.
No, didn't at all. It was safe. It was a very safe pick.
Very safe pick. So, but a great pick at the time. Probably the best pick at the time. But no, Cody being in there, Flair being in there, Steve Austin, and all those other names, they are all deserved. I personally think we've smashed it.
I think we've nailed it, honestly, and I think what we've done well is we've took both of our opinions in here and really put it together well, because I know for sure there'll be rumbles that we have the personal favourites. Like my personal favourite is that 2010 one, but it's not like we've thrown it away up to the top. So do you know what, Billy?
No.
We've done well. I enjoyed that.
We've been honest about it. But listen, if you disagree, what was your favourite Rumble? What was your favourite Rumble moment? By all means, you can hit us up on any of our social media, or indeed just put it in the comments whenever you're watching this video, or indeed you can leave comments over on Spotify as well if you're listening in the audio form. Don't forget, though, make sure to listen to Ryan's podcast as well, the #1 Celtic podcast on YouTube. Feel free to give him a hard time on there. I know plenty of you do. And of course, you can find me, Billy Kirkwood Comedian. Just fucking Google me. Some shite will come up.
You'll find them. Get your tickets. Get your tickets now.
Get your tickets now. Enjoy the Royal Rumble, my friends. We certainly will. We'll be back to maybe have a little chat about that and some other foolishness in the wrestling world. We'll be back with you very, very soon. He has been Ryan Fitzsimons. Look at him right there. Big shout out to Stephen Larson again. Well, more Stephen Larson, let's face it. And I've been Billy Kirkwood, or at least what's left of him. And we will see you the next time on Wrestling Forever.